Hello. It's episode 197 of the Pro Synth Network show. Welcome to all of you. Slightly different camera angle today. I hope this is not too off-putting. I should be looking up there, but I need to look at the screen to make sure that everything's working as it should be. So yes, new desk, new camera position. So fingers crossed this all works. It does. I say it seems this is why we're 2 or 3 minutes late. Is because my lighting, darling, is a little. I know the camera seems to be doing some weird stuff. But anyway, hopefully it won't be too off-putting. No more off-putting than it normally is. Anyway, welcome to the show. Hope you've had a lovely week. We're almost halfway through January already. Should be Christmas, and there has been a little bit more news this week, so we have some things to talk about. We won't be just wittering on as normal for a while yet anyway. But welcome to you all. Thanks for joining us. And if you're watching on Catch Up, thank you for coming back to seeing us at your leisure, whenever that might be, because we know that not everybody can make it at this particular time of day. So good old YouTube allows for you to watch the show. Let's do the regular boring stuff before we crack on with anything else. So as always, please do like or dislike, comment, subscribe, and share us around like your mother. That would be fantastic. Gets a few more views and hopefully spreads the word. I do have an announcement here. Now, PayPal donations have now closed. So if you try and donate to the PayPal page link, which is no longer in the description in the video, it's no longer in the closing titles, it's no longer up on screen here. As they say on the television, your money may be taken, but it might not come to us. So don't do it. Do not use PayPal for donations anymore. We're in the process of trying to get that shut down and everything. I have emailed, I think, everyone that set up a regular payment, and hopefully they will have cancelled those. And thank you. First of all, thank you to all those people who did set up regular payments to us. They are most appreciated. But they will no longer be received by us. So stop it. Just stop, all right? Don't do it. If you want to donate to the show at this moment in time, then please use the Super Chat or Super Stickers. Or if you're watching on Catch Up, there's the thanks button that sits underneath the video. You can use that. It works exactly the same as Super Chat and Super Stickers. And we will get the significant proportion of your donation, because obviously YouTube take a little bit of a cut, as they do. One thing I'd also like to mention whilst we're talking about YouTube is if during this live stream, so don't worry if you're watching on Catch Up, but if tonight, whilst you're watching, you get an advert interrupt this show, can you please let us know? Because we've noticed that's happening on other people's live streams, and we don't really want it to happen on this one, but it doesn't seem we don't seem able to stop that from happening because YouTube have taken all the advert positioning options out of our account, and I believe that's the same for everyone. It's not a personal thing. So if you do get an advert interrupting the show, do let us know. We'd like to know if that's happening, and then we will speak to YouTube and see if there's anything we can do. But anyway, PayPal donations, stop it. Don't do it anymore. But thank you. And we are looking at different options if you want to help fund the channel, which is great, and you do, and you've kept us going for nearly 4 years. It'll be 4 years in March, I believe, or April. You've done a fantastic job. It's all your fault that we're still here. But please don't use PayPal. We are looking at things like Patreon and other options. And if you have a personal favourite or an option or an opinion even, do let us know. We're looking for the most convenient way that we can help you help us. So help us to help you. So yes, please. PayPal donations have now closed. I couldn't make that any clearer, apart from holding a big sign up above all of this. But PayPal donations have closed. So please don't send us your money that way. You can also, of course, we are live here on YouTube, which is our main platform. We've also got the Facebook group. We are streaming live on Twitch, if that's your preferred method of watching us. We're not streaming on Instagram at the moment because it's just a pain in the backside. We are also on Threads, which is their kind of version of what used to be Twitter. And what used to be Twitter is now X. We're on there as well, streaming live. And if you reply to our live stream post, then we will see your chat in the chat here, so we can interact with each other. That would be nice. But really, you ought to just come to YouTube. That's just the best place to be. That's where everyone else hangs out. And if you have anything you want to ask us during the show, any comments you want to make, questions you want to ask, just stick a big capital Q at the front of your comment or your question, and that way we can see it and hopefully react to it. So that's that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the housekeeping. First of all, also want to say thank you to our moderators. I know Mr. Brooks is in the house. He was first in the chat. You don't get any prizes, but thank you. And also, I believe we've got a donation because he's a plonker. He's a moderator, and he still donates to the channel that he, so kindly kind of works for, I guess. He's not on our books or anything. He's a volunteer. He's many things.
I think he's one of our moderators. Business model here.
I know. But yeah, £5. Thank you very much indeed. Jason Crouch also, find the DX1 fund. It's there. There it is. No need to find it. It's all there. It's currently in the middle of, I'll talk about this later, but it's currently in the middle of the studio, unplugged and unconnected. Robbie's desk adjustment fund. Yes. Again, we'll come to the desk thing. Thank you, Matt, though. Good to see you here, mate. Thank you very much. John Simpson has raised Brooksy by a whole 10 pence. We should. Maybe we should do an auction to raise money. I don't know what we'd auction off. It could get quite.
That.
Yeah. So yeah, work that one out. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. So those gentlemen there, and ladies and gentlemen, there are people in Canada. That's it. That's the same. There are people in Canada somewhere in between the mooses.
No.
What's the plural for a moose? Is it mooses? Meese?
Mace.
Mace? I don't know. But anyway, in between those mooses is a wonderful gentleman who, if anybody frequents Kent's pub, often appears on there to wave the Canadian flag and promptly then gets shot down by the Americans across the border. Jeffrey Derry, thank you for your 3456 Canadian dollars. A few coins for the PSN travel fund. Yes, thank you very much. Sorry about your OCD trigger. That's okay. It's 3456. It's kind of consecutive, so it kind of balances it out. So, and I'm sure if we converted that to good old-fashioned English pounds, that would come out at around £1.50. So, I'm happy with that. And Steve, Homegrown, 10 quid. Thank you very much indeed. And we can thank Top Dog Simon for putting him in a generous mood. Yes, we will mention Top Dog Simon a little later on. So thank you, every single one of you, for your donations. It is most appreciated. And I've just seen one come in from Wagyu. 1, 2, 3, 4 chuffs with a Santa. Yeah, well, it's almost Christmas, I suppose. It depends which way you're going. But yeah, thank you very much indeed, Wagyu. Always good to see you here. He's always here. He's always there. He's every blooming where. He's Wagoogle. So thank you very much indeed for that. One moose, two Mises, says I sing the body electric. Yeah, sounds right. Who used to say, I hate these Mises to pieces? Was that Sylvester the cat?
I hate these Mises to pieces, yeah.
You can hear these voices in the background. Let me bring them in. And I was going to say Andrew Brooks. You're not Andrew Brooks.
No.
He's way better looking than you are.
What? Easy. I'm the eye candy.
Well, you're the only one wearing an official ProSynth Network T-shirt today. So you're what do they say? I can't remember the phrase now. Keeping up appearances for the keeping up the side, keeping the side up, whatever. How are you?
I'm good. And on the payment front, I did just want to make it clear, if you would all like to provide us with your card details and PIN number, you can help us to help ourselves.
Indeed.
And any expenses, claims, or odd things you see on the statements from the Copacabana beach or something, then don't
blame
worry.
It on Ken.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So yeah.
Mustang spares.
We just want to put it out there that this is comedy. That's a joke. We don't actually take your credit card details. But yeah,
Actually, that's probably a good idea.
just to be on the safe side.
Apart from Jeffrey.
Apart from Jeffrey, yeah,
Jeffrey Dairy.
We'll milk him dry.
Milk you dry, mate. We'll milk you dry.
As the
You and the
actress
moose
said,
next to you.
Yeah. Ooh, moose milk. Is that a thing?
Moose
Jeffrey,
milk.
tell us. Is moose milk a thing?
I'm sure.
And if it is, what does it taste like?
Moose.
Mousse. Yeah, is it like a chocolate mousse?
Oh dear.
Or a strawberry mousse? Anyway, busy week? Had fun?
It's been a mad week. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a mad week. We're yeah. I'm not even going to go into it.
Okay.
Not going to go into it. It's just been
Yep.
a mad week, and it continues. And we're having a very special something happen on Monday at MMO. I will tell you about it next week. I can't tell
Lovely.
you about it now.
Yes. No, I've had one of those weeks too, and I don't want to talk about it. So
Yeah.
let's talk to Kent, because Kent's probably had a nice, easy, relaxing, feet up, twiddling his thumbs, having his hair done and his nails done. Haven't
No.
you? No.
I've had an awful day.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, no, really. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
It didn't involve
Represent.
Yes.
represent.
Simon, Top Dog, or Top Dog Simon.
Yeah.
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 It didn't involve a Wasp synthesizer, did it?
No.
So it
System
wasn't that
100?
bad then.
No. I had a perfectly working Matrix 12. Suddenly decided it wanted to catch fire for no reason whatsoever. I've got a memory moog with a Kent MIDI kit is trying to kill the memory moog once it was all working. What else did I have today that was a joy? Got electrocuted by a Jupiter 4.
Okay.
There was something else went on. Oh, there's some guy threatening to sue me, but hey,
Oh, that's every day. Yeah. Normal occurrence.
I'll meet up with him in a car park and then bury the body. Yeah, no, so it's just a bad day all round, really.
Yeah.
Hang on. Kent, did you do that to Richard III?
What? Bury him in a car
Arranged-
park?
Arranged to meet up,
I couldn't
Yeah.
possibly comment. I couldn't
Okay.
possibly comment on that. No.
Here's the thing. I bought 2 of these today. Get that to focus.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
6.4 in, 6.4 out. But look at the size of the plastic. I mean, just to give you an idea, against my nose, which is quite large, it's about the same. These
You're
are
not
huge.
gaining a lot, are you?
Well, I'll explain later, but this new desk thing, and I'm just trying to get my expression pedal to plug in and then not catch on the framework. So I thought, well, I'll get one of these to lessen the protrusion. And in actual fact, it's about the same. So I've had to order another one, but I'm going to hang on to these because I'm sure I'll use them somewhere. But yeah, that's big. I mean, look at the size of that.
Well, actually, last week I accidentally bought, along with Kent, four pairs of balanced cables, balanced XLRs, balanced jacks. I meant to buy one, and I bought 4, and I've used all of them. They actually made a huge difference.
Yeah. I like happy accidents like that.
I had a I had an accident.
So yeah, I've ordered another one which is supposedly smaller, less protrusion.
I don't think that's possible, is it?
But yeah, it's nice now because I've actually got my KX88 here under my desk. It's brilliant. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. But more on that later.
Yes, Wagoo.
Yeah, it's not the size that matters; it's the way you use it. Very true.
I can't use it.
Useful for rack gear. This is very
Can't
true.
find
Again, I'm
mine.
using more of that as well because I've got my racks here. Now. I've got 9 U's of rack space. I've already filled 3. So yeah, it's
That's for
all
Matt.
good.
That's for man.
Yes. If your Range Rover sounds like that, you need help. We had a couple more donations. Everyone kissing the machine, 10 quid. Cheers, chaps.
Woo!
Thank you, sir. Also, I say sir. I am assuming. Apologies if my assumption is incorrect. Thank you, lovely person. Thank you for that. And Janna Seta which I'm told that I got that right first time, and I'm very proud of my pronunciation. Can you get Florian of Bad Gear on and make him take down the DX7 episode and apologise? If we had him on, I would have him apologise for almost every single video he's done. But that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, it would be interesting. I will see Florian, I'm sure, at Superbooth, and I intend to do lots of networking. So maybe we can convince him to come on the show. That could be a fun episode. So yeah. But thank you for your €5.05. Yeah.
Yeah,
Odd
it's
number,
been
but-
confirmed. Kissing machine is with penis.
Oh, okay. Lovely. He is with penis.
That's the Penguin of Death saying hello to Top Dog Simon.
Oh,
Yeah, RT, Top Dog Simon. Yeah, before we crack into the news, please go and seek the channel on YouTube called Top Dog Simon. It's run by Simon, who is a top dog, and his friend, who frequently visits
he's
him.
manslave.
But he puts his hand up his bum. Mr. BG Ollie, Banjo Guy Ollie. But Simon now has his own channel. Simon, of course, is the gentleman you see there on Kent's t-shirt, and I would have worn mine had I known. Suck on these notes. He has a channel all of his own, and it is brilliant.
Brilliant.
So please go and support that channel. Go and subscribe to it. You will laugh heartily, and you will swoon at both of their amazing appearances, because they're both lovely, gorgeous people.
Take a look at the most epic announcement, most unnecessary epic announcement ever. That's
And today's episode was quite nice, quite funny.
As
Sticks.
well as the game reviews.
I want to talk about sticks. Yeah, and game reviews are very good.
Yeah, yes.
Talking of games, I was hoping my Mega Synthesis would be here today, but it's got stuck between here and Feltham, and as far as I'm aware, it's a weekday delivery, so I won't be getting that until Monday, which is a shame. But anyway, right, I think we've got some stuff to talk about, and I think probably the most interesting one to start with is this from the wonderful people. Depending on where you are in the world, it's either Akai or Akai. But yeah, there's this.
Hi there, this is Andy Mack from Akai Pro, and I'm excited to announce that we've now added stem separation to the iconic MPC workflow, opening up new boundaries, bringing us into a new era of sampling. Take any vinyl record, any sample, and extract the stems, giving you drums, bass, music, and vocals with incredible sound quality inside the iconic MPC workflow.
So there we go. It's a 10.5-minute video or something like that, so we're not going to play the whole thing. Andy Mack doing his best 80s Wurlitzer DJ impression there. It's so, yeah. But look, Andy Mack, he's a legend in the world of Akai. And yeah, this is Akai's new update to the MPC range, and it includes stem separation. So basically you put in your sample, and a bit like, and this is what it reminded me of. It reminded me of
Isotope RX Remix.
that's the one. I did that without moving my lips, and
Do it again.
and there you go. So you can either you can stem the vocals, the bass, the drums, or other, which is basically everything else that
Or
isn't
all
bass
of them
drums.
at the same time.
Or you can do all of them, yeah. So you just throw your sample in, and you select whether you want to stem those, one or more of those options. It will then do that, and it does it fairly quickly on a fairly sort of, I would say, 20-second sample. It probably took about 5 to 10 seconds to stem them, if that is now a verb. And the results are great. From the demonstration, it seems fantastic. Nice clear sample output on all 4 of those stems, and you can then use them, trim them, do whatever you want with them as you normally would in that MPC workflow, if that is your thing. It's a great addition. I don't necessarily concur with this a new era in sampling, because this has been done before, but the fact that it's now inside an MPC box and therefore inside that MPC workflow, now that is cool. And I think this is going to be very, very interesting. So it's not available right now, and apparently it will cost you $9.99. And I don't know whether that's dollars, euros, or pounds, but it's probably the same. $9.99 to add this feature. So it's not coming as a free update, so I am told. But I think that's actually, if you are an MPC user, I think that's actually a really, really cool thing. But enough of what I think. What about you guys? Andrew, I think you got all a bit moist about the gusset when you read this.
I did. Actually, what this is doing, it's doing stuff that you normally do on a workstation or a PC or whatever, and you do it with something like RX. There's various other bits of software that do it, plugins or whatever, or standalone apps that do this music separation, allow you to separate different things out. But this is doing it on hardware, and it's doing it quick.
Yeah.
I can't believe how quickly it's doing it. I thought we'd have to wait, but you actually see him doing it in real time, talk a little bit whilst it does its thing, and bang. It's moving the desktop into hardware, which is the other way round, the people from what normally has been done. I think it's extraordinary, and I think if you watch the video through to the end, it's really worth watching, despite the voice. It really is worth watching. I think it's going to have a big impact. We're going to hear it a lot. We're going to hear it being used a lot. There's going to be a lot of copyright issues, but I think we're going to hear it a lot. And for the first time in a really long time, I'm wondering about buying an MPC because of it. Seriously. I mean, it does everything else. I like the MPC anyway, and I'm kind of covered for most of that kind of stuff. But with this, boom. It's an extraordinary thing, and the design of it, the way they've got it laid out, the way the whole interface works once you've done that, and how quickly you can build up songs, and it's astonishing. It's a really, really good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It like you say, I mean, it's the technology itself isn't new. We've been able to separate just these sort of four basic elements. I'd like to see how it handles more complex samples and how it splits those and how well it does. If it's anything like Isotope, then it'll do a pretty good job. What if you want to separate?
Sorry, just to cover that, it's very like Isotope in the way. Just the example track they used is a reasonably complex track in terms of the way it's been mixed and the frequencies and how much is it overlaps, but the separation is really good. It's really, really good.
I think what will make it even more cool, and this will obviously come in time, is that when you can separate, because at the moment you can take the vocals out, and they're fairly, vocals, drums and bass are pretty easy for any piece of software to identify, but the rest of it, the guitars and the Rhodes pianos or whatever it was, the strings that were going on, that whole melody bit, that can only be done on its own because you can strip the other three away. But when you can then dig into that and take just the strings or just the guitar, and then that will be
Melodyne.
That'll be very, very nice. Yeah, Melodyne. I mean, there are ways of doing it, but to do it again, this whole point is it's done in the MPC, which makes it just even more of a doorless requirement. And like you said, it does make the MPC a more attractive proposition for those that maybe were teetering on the edge.
It's a great creative tool. Sorry.
Yeah, Ken. I never really gelled with them. I've had 2 or 3 of them over the years, mainly for work purposes. I sold one. I've got an MPC 500. That's all I've got left. And that just sits on the shelf and that gathers a lot of dust. If anybody wants to buy it, make me an offer I can't refuse. Talking of MPC owners, we have one. He's right there. No, there.
Yes.
There.
There's something I know you've not really dived into your MPC as much as you thought you might, but would this encourage you to do so?
Well, actually, yeah, it would, because actually I see it as if it can do it, as a tool for taking things like separating cellos from violins and from double basses and stuff like that, so I can concentrate on individual sections, so I can learn them. Because when you've got it all running together at the same time, it's very, very hard to pick out various things. And because I can't read music, that's literally the only way I can do it. But yeah, I can think of 101 different things I could do with this. Adjusted for inflation. I mean, nine quid. I mean, Jesus Christ, we're talking. It's free, isn't it?
It's
Practically, you might as well go. Well, look, it's just a token gesture that you pay us a tenner.
Yeah,
because you're getting a lot. Because I mean, you could say, yeah, all right, there's Melodyne, there's all the others, but they're not exactly cheap, are they?
No.
What's really clever about it is when you do a sample, you sample a track. Not only does it split it up into stems, but it essentially saves all 4 of those stems as a group. So if you then decide you want to pitch change or time stretch or do any number of those kinds of operations, it does it across all of them for you. You can save it separately, so you can do different saves of it. But when you do one thing, change the pitch or the when you do that, it separates it all out, and you can change, you can slow it down or pitch change it, and keep the same time. You can do all of that stuff after the fact, so you can end up with something entirely different. It's a really, honestly, I love it. I love it.
Now, the one thing I couldn't find on the website, and I didn't have time to go through the entire video, but it didn't make it clear whether this is compatible with all current Akai MPCs or just, I mean, we saw the MPC Live 2. Is it available on the Force? Is it available on the X? I'm assuming it will be.
It's on the X. This is advertised as being for the X, so I don't know if that's a different hardware platform.
Yeah, well, the video just shows the Live 2, but it doesn't. Inky says yes, all MPCs. So
wow.
She knows her MPCs.
Nice.
So yeah, it's not on the Force yet.
Yeah, okay.
Yet being, I guess, the operative word. But yeah, I guess this is something interesting for all Akai MPC owners.
Who's Akai? Akai?
All MPCs are the same under
sorry.
the hood. I've got an original MPC 60.
Cool. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. No, yeah, they are. They're doing some really good stuff, I have to say. When Machina came out and Akai seemed to have dropped the MPC ball and that whole thing, I thought, there you go, end of an era, never mind. Germans have come in, they're going to do it better and what have you. And to their credit, Akai have come back and made some incredibly good machines. Again, they just don't necessarily appeal to me personally, but they are incredibly good and creative, powerful tools. So it just got a little bit more powerful.
I think that they understood the audience that now use them. And what their wants. I think they've really hit the sweet. I mean, I might be entirely wrong and it will flop, but I think they're hitting the sweet spot at the moment.
Oh yeah,
they really are. Yeah,
indeed. So if you want to know more information about that, then it's Akai Pro. Is it Akai Pro? Honestly, what's it? Yeah. What's the? No, it's akaipro.com. They still kept that. I can never remember if they kept the old address or not. akaipro.com/stems, and then because it's not available at the moment, you just hit the notify me tab and just put in your name and address and where you are, sign you up, and they will let you know when it's ready.
And watch the whole vid. It's a good. It's worth it.
And
it really
Andy's
is.
a cool dude, and I don't mean any disrespect when I said he had the vocal intonation of an 80s Wurlitzer DJ. That was an affectionate comment. Because we all wanted to be Wurlitzer DJs at some point. Well, I did anyway.
No.
I saw a friend get his arm. He got wedged into a Wurlitzer and it went over it and just like shattered the whole thing. It was horrible. Those were the days. Jumpers for goalposts.
As we're talking about DJs, could we cover that quickly, or not?
No, let's leave that.
What, with
Leave
a
it
dust
like
sheet?
that. Yeah. Let's do that a little bit later. Whilst we're on a happy vibe.
Happy vibe.
Happy vibe. Oh, by the way, donation, Peter James Stephen, £5. Thank you very much indeed. Most welcome. Thank you for your email this week. I will get round to responding. It's been a busy week. But yes, thank you. And I believe Peter's also booked his Super Booth ticket. So he will be there, as will many of us, I hope. Had a nice little chat, little message from Carl the other day. So be hanging out with Carl and some others. Come and join us if you're going to Super Booth this year. It'll be a lot of fun. Right, let's see. What have we got that we can talk about that's fun and interesting? How about some... here you go. Now, you're going to have to forgive me and probably Kent and Andrew as well, because this news just dropped at like 5 o'clock this afternoon. So we've really not had a huge amount of time to study and find out. It's fairly simple and straightforward, but why don't we, first of all, watch the promotional video, which has disappeared from my thing. Okay, let's talk amongst ourselves whilst I find said promotional video. I don't know what happened there. That's very odd. Did it get deleted by mistake? Maybe I don't need to download it again. No, how embarrassing. That's terrible.
Would you like me to talk about it whilst you...
Well, yeah, let me just throw it up on screen, and then, this is the new thing from Stylophone. So go ahead, and I'll go and get that video.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to talk about this. This is one I hadn't quite seen. I thought we were talking about
We
the
are
Stylophone.
so switched on today.
I've not seen this at all. It looks very lovely. How much?
Well, it does. Well, I'll tell you how much. It's just over £200, and it's essentially a drone machine. It's the first in what they're calling their CPM series, which is compact, portable, modular. So I'm going to do this, but I need to get rid of the adverts first.
Well,
because normally I have these all fired up and ready to go. And so here we go. Professional as always.
as always.
As always.
Slick as weasels.
Let's do that. Let's do that. And we'll do this. And we'll go there. And here it is. Here's the video. Stylophone.com for their compact portable modular. What's the full name of it again? I'm so on the ball
CPM
today.
DS2.
DS2, that's it. So the CPM DS2 is available to pre-order now. You don't need to put any money down at all. And let me just bring up the website. It's a drone machine. It says it's Eurorack compatible, by which I believe that you can unscrew it from its desktop unit. There we go. And pop it into your Eurorack rack. Is it?
I have
you call
actually
it
done some
Eurorack?
reading on this now, and I'm now the expert.
There you go. But yeah, two 3340 oscillators for the one for each drone, two 3320 filters, two analog sub oscillators, 14 LFO waveforms, two LFO wave selectors, 7 LFO routing switches, 5 LFO depth attenuators, or attenuverters, as they put there. I don't know if that's a spelling mistake or if an attenuverter is an actual thing. 12 modular patch points, reverbs, delays, effects mixer with auxiliary in. So I'm assuming that means that you can process effects, process outside stuff with those effects. 2 stereo outputs, a built-in speaker, 6 AA battery compartment, and is Eurorack compatible. There it is in all its glory. And it looks a lovely thing. If you like drones, of course. Little speaker down the bottom. I think that's, I don't know, that's just probably them trying to keep with the Stylophone vibe of being completely portable and not requiring anything else. I think your drones might sound pretty awful coming through a speaker that big. But look at that. Something very new and interesting from Stylophone. A lot of people were hoping that they might follow up the Gen R8, which went down a storm with lots of people. But yeah, there you go. New thing from Stylophone. Looks rather cool. Sounded pretty cool too. Yeah. Thoughts, Kent? You like a nice drone. That's why you. No, I'm not going to say that. She'll kill me.
Yeah. No, no, funny enough, drones are the sort of things that I spend most of my time trying to get rid of from keyboards, because it means that they're, you know, the VCA's envelope generator's gone up the crapper. So this is clever. I like it. I must admit, I like this, and they've really thought ahead by making it Eurorack sized as well. So they're going to be hitting, you know, they're hitting the target on quite a few markets with this.
Yeah.
The price is pretty good. Hopefully, though, that, you know, are they doing that thing where, you know, put your email address down and we'll let you know when it's available type thing, like you did with the Stylophone? All right, so just a heads up. I did that with that other Stylophone, and then they took the money out of the bank. So. So if you haven't got a lot of pennies knocking about and saying, oh, I can save up the money later, probably hang back on sticking your email in, because they might just actually try to pull this stuff out of your account. But yeah, I think cool. I'm not a droner, not into droning much.
That's a matter of opinion.
Well, I know, I've heard many people say this, actually. I do sound like a 3340 with a knackered EG, but I think this is, I think it's nice. It's a clever little thing.
Yeah.
Definitely not. It's not my thing really, but yeah, there's something, you know, there's something enticing about it, I must admit. And I think this will do really well. I think we'll see loads of these all over the place. But like I said, fitting into Eurorack, genius move. I take my hat off to you, sir.
I mean, at 209 quid, I think it is. 209 pounds, 239 euros, 259 US dollars.
Yeah.
They are sticking with their premise of interesting tools at very, reasonably affordable prices, or very affordable prices. Because what was the Theremin that they announced last week? That was 99, wasn't it? Something stupid.
Yeah, I think it came out about 90 quid or
so
95 quid, something like that.
Yeah, interesting. I noticed some people, as soon as this came out, they were going, "Where's the MIDI?" But it's a drone.
Can I cover that?
Yeah, go for it.
So, as soon as I saw this, and I've been looking at it now, and I think I've engaged with it, my immediate thought was brilliant. My second immediate thought was, this is only for Eurorack. Because there's no MIDI, then you can't, it's not really portable. What do you do with it portably? What do you do with it? You can't just use it by itself. You have to have something else, or it just goes off and does its thing.
Very true.
I guess there's no envelope on it for either filter or for for pitch or for the amplitude, which I guess you would use the different LFO shaping and routings for, but without MIDI. I mean, it's got the little speaker. The little speaker is actually quite interesting, because if you can bring stuff in from outside, then you can have a really shitty little speaker and sample that. You know, that's kind of interesting. But this is solely aimed, as far as I can see, unless you've got a Euro rack with all the cabling and everything else and it's already worked out, I can't see what this would do other than sit on your desktop and look pretty and occasionally go "Rrr, rrr, rrr."
Yeah.
And don't mistake the Drone 1 and Drone 2 for anything other than what they are, which is they're oscillators. They're oscillators, nothing else. They're oscillators. They happen to drone because they, as Kent said, with broken synths, they don't have an ADSR or whatever. There's no envelope on it. So I can't quite see, for me, what it would be useful for. If you already own Eurorack, then I think it would be a really good thing. My question then is, at €209, aren't there other 2 oscillator things around about that price and lots of them out there? What's this bringing to the, although it's got effects built in, isn't it? But what really is it bringing to the party that other Eurorack things aren't? I'm a bit puzzled by it.
Good question.
It looks
Probably
great.
One not to ask somebody who doesn't really have
One
thing
MIDI
for Eurorack.
in on it would have sorted all of that. One MIDI in.
True. No, I think like you say, it's definitely designed to be used with other things and rather than the stack. Because I can't imagine anybody sitting here, with that not plugged into lots of other things, having it drones with that little speaker. That's going to get a little bit annoying.
We don't have to have the speaker turned up.
Yeah.
Was there no even CV on the front or something?
Yeah. There's patching on the front.
Yeah, so you've got pitch, PWM, cutoff, etc. So you can, if you've got envelopes elsewhere, then you can use those. So if you've got a 2600 clone or whatever, you can plug it into that and it should go up. I mean, they don't say what the voltages are, but I imagine they're fairly standard Eurorack. So it works, but you have to have a Eurorack for it to work, which is, I think, a shame. Or not a shame. No, I think it's.
Well, not necessarily.
I think it's a great thing, but I just wonder
for those people with semi-modular things like Behringer Crave or the other stuff, that kind of tabletop semi-modular stuff. This will fit right in with that as well. So,
and I guess some of the Arturia stuff.
Yeah, the fact that you can just pop that out and stick it into a Eurorack if you want to. Yeah, great.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's got the CV ins, you can use a converter cable. You've still got to have another piece of equipment for you, even if you've got a MIDI on it.
And
you're going to have the remote board, aren't you?
And if you don't have an envelope generator stroke whatever to feed it out and through and do all that stuff with, then it is just drone. And that's, okay, I'm sure you can do really interesting things with the LFO.
Yeah.
But I'd want those to be able to tie to what my...
And let's be honest.
Well, then it wouldn't be a drone machine.
Yeah, people in the world of Eurorack are quite happy to spend a couple of £100 on something that just does one function.
Yeah.
And that's great. But like I say, it's a fairly specific thing, and the other things are available on the market that do similar things at different price ranges. This is nice. It's Stylophone, and it's the first. I think the most interesting thing for me is it's the first in a new series of what they're calling compact, portable, modular. So you can take it around in its own case, or you can stick it in your big rack. Yes, there you go, Hydrosynth. That has CV gate and ins and outs.
So you can control the pitch with the CV and gates and everything else, but you can't add envelopes. You have to take it. You're gonna, that's kind of where I get a bit lost with it.
Yeah. But interesting thing.
It's interesting.
And I would like to see it, in some sort of Eurorack environment to see how that's used. I think they missed a trick there with the demo. They should have shown it a little bit in all of its glory. But no, interesting stuff.
You got a close up of that front panel anywhere?
Well, I can do this.
Well, you can actually see sort of the stuff that is actually available on it. So,
is that working for you?
Yeah, kind of.
So you've got the LFO where you've got connections there for rate, reset, wave 1 and wave 2, and then you've got the 2 wave selector knobs, and then the rate knob, and then the destination. So you can send wave 1 or 2 to oscillator 1, wave 1 or 2 to oscillator 2, filter 1 and filter 2. Each oscillator seems to be the same. It's a 3340 oscillator which has pitch, PWM, cutoff and output, patch points, and then you've got your waveforms, your sub oscillators on there as well, your pitch knob, LFO depth,
And is that that looks like a continuously variable waveform, right?
It does, yes. It does. Okay. And then your filter, so cut-off and resonance, volume, LFO destination, high pass, low pass. And that's the same for both, although it looks like Oscillator 2 has a hard sync as well. Oh, actually, no, the hard sync and the pitch sync are in between the two, so you can sync. I got it, yeah. So you sync those two together. And pitch link too, so that means, yeah, so that links the pitch between the two oscillators, which is useful. Yeah. And then on the mixer, you've got there's a level knob, there's an auxiliary in, there's a main output, there's headphones, and there's a volume control there. Then you've got the delay and reverb levels and the main output level. Then you've got the delay settings and the reverb settings and the little speaker at the bottom. Fairly standard set.
I think on a dry machine, I don't think envelope generators are a thing, are they?
No.
Really?
Is
there EGs on the Lyra?
Sorry, is there
envelope generators on the Lyra? I can't remember.
I'm not familiar with it.
Hang on a second.
But yeah. Have a butcher's.
Let me have a butcher. This is annoying.
Oh. So there we go. Let's wait for Kent and his Lyra.
Oh, in a nutshell. No, not really.
No, there you go. Interesting. Well, something new again from Stylophone. It looks like I don't think they ever really went away, but they're back with some new ideas, and that's good.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they're successful, I'm sure we'll see more interesting stuff from them soon.
What's interesting is that they've bought this out, and it's clearly aimed at that market. So I wonder what else they're going to come out with.
Yeah.
As it's called DS2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's nice to see them pulling away from the, touch and stylus as well.
Yeah, it is.
Thank God.
And flying off in a different direction.
Yeah.
It's an interesting turn-up, is what it is.
Yeah. And the great thing about the DS2 and to a degree the theremin they brought out last week is that they are connectable with other things. They have audio ins and audio outs and patch points and stuff like that. So the original Stylophones were just these little pocket things, and even though the modern ones did have a line out, I believe, they still weren't very versatile, shall we say. They were kind of very much a one-trick pony. So yeah, good stuff. Well done. And we'll have more on those in the coming weeks and months as we see. Right, okie dokie. Let's have a look here. What have we got? So we've done that, and well, there's a bit of software news. Whilst I bring up the page, have a look at the trailer. Goes on for a little while, but we'll stop it there. This is Korg Gadget 3 that dropped today. Lots of updates. This is a multi-platform studio where you can use it on iPad, iPhone, and on your desktop computer as well. And it includes something in the region of about 40 mini instruments that all have specific functions. There's drum machines or synthesizers. There's this new rhythm guitar thing as well. They do a very specific thing. It's almost like I was going to say it's a little bit Reason-esque.
Yeah, mini Reason.
Yeah, with just these kind of dedicated little extra bits. But of course, now all of these are available as VST3s. It also has audio unit version 3 support, so you can use these instruments within other sequencing programs or applications in the iOS world, if that's your thing. New user interfaces, improved browsers, etc., etc. You can upgrade as well, and there's a sale on for that until, was it the end of the month, 31st of January. Yeah, I mean, again, this really isn't my cup of tea, but an interesting music production tool that's interchangeable. You can start off on your iPad, your iPhone, and then bring it into the studio, or equally the other way around. You can start something at home on your laptop or desktop, and then I've got to go to work. I'll take my project with me and carry on the tube. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and it seems to have found a little niche, but not really something I would get into personally. Any thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Go on then.
For the last year, we've slated Korg with their hardware, but every time they release software, we're kind of going, whoa, this is a good thing. They're nailing this as a software platform. All the software they're releasing is really nailing it. They're doing a fantastic job. On the hardware side, not so much. So it's 209, I think, 209 quid for, or whatever it is, dollars. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a couple of hundred of somethings, and you get a lot from it, and you can do a lot with it. This is like the Akai, the Akai MPC X stems thing, MPC stems, is a great piece of hardware, and that's going to go well. This should do really well. It's a really good collection of synths that, I mean, I think you'd almost be mad not to own it. And I don't, and guess what? I'm about to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, price-wise, it's not as cheap as you'd think. So it's currently on sale for $249 for Gadget 3 for Mac. You can get the Gadget 3 plugins for Mac or PC for $149, and these are all reduced. So full price is $299 for Gadget 3 and $199 for the plugins. Again, Korg with their plugin prices, that you can get so much more for less from other places.
Well, hang on, you can get more than 40 separate plugins for 200 quid.
These are very specific little plugins.
They are, but they give you an entire suite.
Oh, yeah. But you can get a copy of Reason for maybe a little bit more, and you get everything that comes with, and it can host. I just don't like their price. Their pricing is way off, in my opinion. In particularly in their software, and they're beginning to do that in their hardware as well, which is the main reason I've criticised them in the past, hardware-wise. But yeah, iOS upgrade, according to Babs, is free. Desktop upgrade is $99. So thank you for that information. Interesting stuff. Yeah, it's. I don't know, Ken. Any? It doesn't seem to be your cup of tea.
No, it's not my neck of the woods at all.
No.
I did try something that was very similar to this a while back.
Korg Gadget 2.
Yeah, it probably was a Korg Gadget. And it was all right. It didn't fit with what I was doing, really, I suppose, more than anything else. Yeah, I mean, it looks, nice little package, nice platform to work with and everything, but it's not me, really.
So was it last year that they demoed, or I don't know, did they release it? The VR?
The VR thing, yeah.
Which
you could play it on their site.
Bloody
couldn't
horrible. I mean,
it's
gone away. Nobody talks about it at all.
No, but it was an interesting concept, and that's kind of what I like about Korg's software. Korg's software department are nailing it. Whether or not the pricing, that's the marketing. Selling a new version of a synth, which is the same synth, but it's got a tiny little control surface, lots of, and then bunging in a flight case and making it twice as expensive. That's not a great strategy, right? This is interesting. This does work. And I think for a lot of people, just having a whole collection of stuff that you can bring up on your iPad and your laptop and your PC and run with it, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You know, I know it's a couple of £100 or whatever. Yep, maybe that's more than some others, but you've got an entire production thing here. You've got an entire studio's worth of loveliness. It's, you know, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, and it's easy. That's the other thing. It's a really easy thing to use.
I'd certainly, if I was making music on a mobile device, then this would, I think, it'd definitely be my go-to, rather than, you know, say something like Cubasis or whatever it is that they have on there, and then buying other things to plug into it. This is, you know, this will all just work, you know, out of the box straight away. So yeah, but I'm not in that world. So
and Lady Aptitude, who's always brilliant on these things.
Babsy Wabsy.
Aptitude, thank you. Yeah,
very true. Yeah, it started on the iPad and then moved over, which is normally the other way around, and then it doesn't do it very well.
That's where I saw it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I understand people, you know, like with all of these things, it's for some people and not for others.
It's all horses for courses, isn't it?
I am
but
often surprised at the lack of speed. So I got an iPad, the original, call it iPad 1, I suppose. We got the original iPad, and there were a selection of apps at the time that were, you know, dedicated music apps. Korg were almost, you know, at the forefront of that with they had an Electribe, and then was it the IMS 20 or something? Yeah, they had a whole bunch of stuff, and it really felt like we were at the beginning of something that was going to be really super cool. We were going to be able to, you know, use our iPads for music making in its entirety, from, you know, instruments to sequencers to, you know, mixing and production and mastering or whatever. And I know that that there are people that do that, but the thing for me was the ability to say, right, okay, I'm out and about and I've got my iPad and I'm making stuff, but when I come home, I want to be able to then take that. I don't want to be sat at my desk with an iPad finishing off all my music, trying to integrate it. I just want to sort of dump that project into a desktop a desktop version of the application and carry on. And being as I was then heavily into Reason, I was thinking, oh, please, Propellerhead, this is brilliant for you. You've got iOS apps already because they put Rebirth out on there. Bring us an iPad version of Reason that we can then just interchange. And they didn't do it. They did things like Figure, which wasn't originally compatible in any way with Reason directly. It's just all a bit of a faff. And the only one that did it was Apple's own GarageBand. You could write something in GarageBand on an iOS device and then just throw it straight into Logic and just work. And I've done that loads of times. Come up with something, you know, like that. But that was always the only way of doing it. And I just thought that by now, so many years after the iPad launched, that we would have been at that point where iPads were much more integrated and
they are,
a universal thing.
They are different platforms with different they are different, and they're now much closer than they were. So the iPads are going to be, you know, using the same kind.
Well, Cubasis does it.
Sorry,
I can do stuff in Cubasis.
Oh, Cubasis
and
does it.
Bluetooth it across to 13.
So
It
Cubasis
works.
project will open up in Cubase
Yeah,
Pro.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's great, which means I can sit in bed and go, oh, I know a good idea for a tune. Clink, 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 and then go throw it on the following day.
Yeah, that's what
following
I've done
day, the end of the week.
Here's
Next
what
month.
with GarageBand.
Here's potentially an interesting thing. Back in 2000, I think it was, I was working on a project with Microsoft and EMU and Creative, where they were looking at the idea of having a downloadable something which you'd take a mix, all the tracks of a mix, and you would download all of those as really low bandwidth MP3s, and you download them just when you need them. So it would look ahead in the track. So you'd provide MIDI, all the MIDI data. You play back the MP3 either as samples or various other things. But it was a tiny package to deliver, and given the speeds of the internet at the time, it was a really good thing. So you could essentially download a mix, play around with it, adjust the levels. It wasn't the best sound because it was low-res MP3s, but guess what? You could then transfer that back up to whatever the host was, and it would work. It would remember the mix. This is kind of like that, except it's now using, of course, synthesized. It's using plugins, so all the work is being done on the device itself. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot more of that happening, and there's more coming. Trust me, there's a lot more coming.
And, brings us back to that point where Apple are clearly slowly bringing desktop and mobile together.
That's
Mac
their
OS is
long-term.
looking much more like iOS, and iOS devices are becoming much more powerful. So there's going to be a time when the MacBook and the iPad will probably just merge, and it'll just be MacBooks with touchscreens. Whether they call it, I don't know. But it seems that that's the way. But it's taking its time. Which,
Well, it used to be that Mac was the choice for any creative, whatever your creative field was, and they lost that for a while because the PCs became much more powerful in certain ways and cheaper, and lots of other people were doing lots of other things, and Apple lost their way with the advent of their own silicon. They've been doing more and more and more, and that merging of platforms, being able to do things on the fly, it's much closer on the Mac, on Apple, than it is on any other platform, and it's a really, really good thing. If you happen to have Apple, I still don't. Or rather, I have had in the past. I don't at the moment. No. You see, I'm rendering a bazillion times faster than you, but.
no, you're not.
For music, I've said it several times. For music, I'm moving over to Mac because it makes sense.
Toilet flush there.
Yeah.
What, in your head?
No.
That was my
actual
PC.
toilet. Actual toilet.
Yeah, wasn't it the advent of GPUs where Mac started getting left behind?
Yeah.
They didn't have access to the GPU.
They did. They had a
PC.
falling. There were all sorts of licensing, and everyone was. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. Just some. Everyone makes their own decision. Microsoft got out of the whole, that whole hardware thing pretty much, and they've been focusing on AI. So they, this week we saw Microsoft for a microsecond were worth more than Apple. In the States on the markets, but then they swap back again. But that's because they chose AI. Apple have very deliberately chosen to merge all their platforms, and they're getting there with that. So it was a really smart long-term.
February 2nd, Apple Vision Pro becomes available to buy in the US.
That's going to be an interesting one. I've had a look.
So we shall see how well that does, whether it tanks or not. But interesting.
See whether or
stuff.
not they fix the things that they needed to.
And that to me is a better use of, rather than say with Korg Gadget VR, which we've not been talking about, but we did, and I personally didn't think it was all that and a side of fries. The Apple Vision Pro basically being augmented reality and just putting regular Mac apps in that space, to me makes more sense, although you would still need to use keyboards and mice and whatever, which I'm quite happy with. But until we get AR down to that fine, that sort of granularity, so it's all very interesting stuff. But Korg Gadget 3 is out now, and you can just go to your regional Korg site, whether it's Korg US or Korg UK or wherever, and you'll be able to get your prices there. But as I said, at the moment it's on sale for $249 US for the Gadget 3 suite for Mac, and $149 US for the plugins that work on Mac and PC. And upgrade prices are $99. Thank you, Babs, for that. And upgrade prices on the iOS devices are free. I think the actual app itself is only $20-$30, if that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Steve
All good
Elbo's
stuff.
mentions, he says this just quickly, just so we get it out of the way. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's still true. However, if all you're doing is video and you're doing big effects, then yes, you need something with a proper mad GPU. They'll get to it. That will come.
Yeah, I
And
keep
in
the
the
PC
meantime-
because of Lightwave.
And in the meantime, if you're doing music, the Mac Silicon, they've got a better ecosystem at the moment. They've got a much better ecosystem.
Yep. No complaints from me. So, right. Let's move on. So that's Korg Gadget 3. We could toss that one into the bin of this week's news. Yeah, let's sober things up a little bit. Get a little bit somber. This one might be just more relevant for our UK and nearby viewers, but I think everyone will appreciate that they probably have somebody like this in their culture, and we're very lucky to have had Annie Nightingale in our world for the last 83 years, the last 50 of which
56 years on the Beeb.
Yeah, 56 years. She was the first female DJ on Radio 1 3 years after it launched. And she's blazed the trail, as they say, for not just women on radio, but women in music everywhere. She started off as a journalist on a local paper in Brighton, I believe, as a music journo. Got to interview bands like the Beatles and so on, just made a reputation as being a really knowledgeable, passionate advocate for all sorts of music. I mean, some people have been saying she's the female John Peel. Well, no, she was the female Annie Nightingale. And yes, the comparisons will be drawn. But she was of that ilk that she didn't not like anything. She loved everything that was good. And whether that was prog rock, acid house, whatever, even right up to the present day. I mean, she presented the last show on the BBC back in December, which was her best of. She did 3 shows, best of 2023. So still relevant, still keeping up, in her 80s, and still, we don't have advertisers, so I can say this. She still didn't give a shit. Did what she liked, wore what she liked, said what she liked. She was pretty unfiltered, but she knew her stuff, so there's absolutely you couldn't throw that back at her. So she was an absolute gem in our broadcasting world, and she's passed away today at the age of 83. And thank you for your service, ma'am. Any abiding I mean, like Peely, I used to listen to Annie Nightingale late at night playing, because she played the stuff that you wouldn't normally hear.
Yeah, she. The nicest thing that's been said about her in all the obits is she didn't just break the door down, she held it open. And she held it open for other women to come into the Beeb and your female artists. But she also held it open for any music which she liked. So much as at the time I hated punk rock, I hated it because I was a progger. So she started off introducing proggy bands, and then she opened up the door for punk rock and was an advocate for them. And then all the other stars that have come since, everything that's come since, she's opened the door. She chose the music she liked, and she gave a platform for that music to be heard and for the people to progress. And I think the other thing which she did, it's always been said in music journalism for DJs, they should never be friends with the band. She was friends with all of them, because she genuinely was a fan of music. And the fact is, even last Christmas, a few months ago, she's 83, and she was putting stuff on that was still making you go, what the? She maintained that, and I remember her very much from my youth, and she has been seminal, and she'll be very sorely and sadly missed. She did an enormously important, wonderful job just by being Annie Nightingale.
Yeah,
I think that's the best you can say for her. She was Annie Nightingale.
Yeah, I will miss her popping up, on Glastonbury, just looking amazing and still not giving a shit, with a cigarette in hand, and passing her opinion on a great many things.
And I fancied the pants off her when I was a teenager.
She was
an older woman, and I lusted after her, as I think red-blooded young men and lots of red-blooded young females also did. She was just astonishing.
Were you an Under the Duvet Peel/Nightingale listener, Kent?
Yeah, she adopted new music. You know, Tony Mansfield band, when nobody else was playing it. And I was madly into new music when they were, you know, around. And stuff, you know, stuff like that. She'd pick up on stuff, and then she'd play something else, and you just go, "Oh, I must find out more about this band. Yeah, I like this," you know, because it was just handed to you. There you go.
Yeah,
there was no, not a chronological order. It was a, you know, on most radio shows they follow a certain genre and they keep within the boundaries of their audience.
And their
whereas she'd go,
well,
bollocks, either you like it or you don't. If you don't like it, well, wait until the end. Or play something you probably will. You know.
Yeah.
So very much an under the covers listener for all, all the wrong reasons.
Every week was her playlist, and her playlist was always eye opening and sort of where's that come from? And it's
always interesting to see people when somebody like her passed, and they would say she was one of the only people to play that one track that I released on a home press 7-inch vinyl that I sent into Radio 1. She's the one that played it, and it was the same with Peel. You know, when people would say that he was the only person brave enough to play my record on on Radio 1, even though it was at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night. It got airplay with those sorts of people, so that's very cool.
It got people listening to it. That's
and as Simon has just pointed out, we also must mention that Tracy, Vince Clarke's wife, who was sadly diagnosed with stomach cancer 2 years ago, has sadly succumbed to that and passed away just the other day. And of course, Vince had kind of taken a bit of a back seat for the last few years to care for her, and only just put out his first ever solo album, which he made during sort of the lockdown period. But I say, unfortunately, Tracy lost her battle as well. So this is 2024 is starting to become another little 2016 again, with lots of very well-known people popping their clogs early doors. And I think lots of research was done on 2016. They actually said no more famous people died in 2016 than any other normal year. It's just that they seem to be quite prominent and sort of focused in one sort of particular period. But talking of people that passed away in 2016, did you see what I did there? That pro in Synth Network. Oh, mate.
Smooth.
Guys. So, as I said, speaking of people who passed away in 2016, there has been an announcement from Yamaha this week that they are going to be displaying their custom Yamaha C7X SH at NAMM, and this custom one was made, there's only one of them, and it was made for Prince to accompany him on his piano and a microphone tour, which only ever did about 3 or 4 shows before he sadly passed. But they're bringing, so the piano and the stool, which are all custom made, are being brought to NAMM. So if you are lucky enough to go to NAMM, go and take a look at this wonderful thing. So it's a Yamaha C7X SH, which is a silent piano. But what it means is it has the full mechanism in there, so you can play it just like a proper piano. But then you flick a switch, and there's a very clever system that disengages the mechanism from the hammers, but allows you to carry on playing, but triggering a MIDI module. And so the reason Prince apparently wanted this was his plan was on the tour to, it's just him and the piano playing songs, and in between songs he just wanted to sustain a chord or something. So, this is what I've read, that he used to do this on his Yamaha Motif. He was a huge Motif fan. And he would just bring up the string patch. So when he played that kind of last chord on the piano, the strings would just sit there and sustain a bit longer than the piano. And then he would segue into, the next piece. So, this is a custom thing. There's actually, they made a video that was going to be shown at the beginning of every show on this tour. So let's just show that anyway. That was actual footage from Yamaha's piano factory in Japan.
Well,
so that video was going to be shown at the beginning of every show. Unfortunately, Prince passed away after about I can't remember, it was 3 or 4 of those shows. The piano got delivered to him about 2 weeks before he passed away. He held, as he would often do, like private gigs at Paisley Park, and he held one to celebrate the arrival of this. This was the first ever keyboard instrument that Prince had ever commissioned. Obviously, he got his special guitars and stuff, but this is the first and only sort of instrument that wasn't a guitar that he commissioned. Yamaha delivered it. They put it onto the stage, and at this gig, he comes on and he whisks this big silky purple cloth off the piano, and of course, crowd go wild. It's a lovely big purple piano. He plays chopsticks. The first thing he played on this thing was chopsticks. He then played some classical pieces. Didn't sing or anything, just played a few little classical pieces, and then put the lid down, and he never touched it again because he passed away on April 21st. And this was delivered around April 16th or something, silly. So if you want to go and see this is at NAMM, which kicks off not next week, but the week after. So please, if you are there, go and have a look at this. It's a completely unique instrument, one of a kind, made for the man himself. Apparently they got the colour from his favourite purple sofa at Paisley Park. Apparently they did a walk around looking at all the different things, because there's lots of purple things at Paisley Park, and he found this particular sofa, and they cut a swatch of the material. There it is, just there. Swatch of the material, I guess, from somewhere on the sofa, and sent that to Yamaha, and then they mixed the paint to match that. There's a lovely article over at Yamaha.com about the piano and where it is, and of course it will be at NAMM. There's a nice little behind the scenes video as well of how they made the thing, and so it shows the actual piano itself. It's rather cool. I thought I'd let you know about that. I was going to suggest that we might talk about what we're hoping to expect at NAMM, but let's do that next week, because that's the week before NAMM. So if you have any thoughts on that, let's do that then. But we can't hear you, Andrew, because your microphone is muted.
there we go. I just wanted to say the one thing that came out of that video that we just saw is I finally know how to play the piano. Watch.
Okay. Is he about to fart?
It looked it, didn't it?
There you go.
There you go. That's how you play the piano.
You thought you were setting yourself up to let one rip.
Purple Pants.
Purple Pants. Yeah.
There we go.
40 years since Purple Rain this year, so expect a lot of this kind of stuff. There'll be a lot of print stuff going on this year. They've even commissioned the musical, haven't they? The Broadway musical of Purple Rain, which I think you
It
can
could
keep
be
that.
good. It could be good.
I think you
It
can
could be
keep that.
good. It could be good.
Yeah, but
Who knows?
yeah, no, I mean, I'd love to have gone and seen that, and maybe I will. The last time I was in Minneapolis, which was 2017, I think it was just after they'd opened Paisley Park as this museum, and I got to the airport, I got to my hotel, Mark Doty came and picked me up, and we went straight to Paisley Park, and it had just closed, so we wouldn't have got in anyway, but so we took some pictures outside Paisley Park, and then Mark drove me around a bunch of Prince related places in Chanhassen and in the local area, and then took me to a restaurant that was owned by Prince's former chef, and we had a lovely meal, and we nerded out about synthesizers for a long time, and it was great, but I didn't get to actually go to Paisley Park, so one day. Right, so yeah, that's Prince's Piano at NAMM. Go and see it if you are there, if you're lucky enough to be there. We've got Dina Perlman in the chat. Of course, Dina will be there with the Alan R. Perlman Foundation. And also, do you remember we spoke about the fundraiser? Because we had Dina on, we had the guys from Cherry Audio.
Yeah.
And they wanted to raise $6,000 for the work that needed to be done on the 2500 that they've got. They did it, and they went above. The last time I looked, it was over $6,500 So they made it and then some. And I think you can still donate. So if you missed it, I'm sure they'll be happy to receive a few extra pennies, pounds, cents, dollars, whatever. But yeah, well done, Dina. I'm looking forward to seeing that 2500 in action. But you can go and see her. And she'll be ably assisted by Andrew Ward from this parish, or that parish. But yeah, Andrew Ward, also known as Art Quadra, on a lot of the forums and the music places. You've probably seen him hanging around places like Synthfest, but he'll be there as well, helping out, which is very nice. So let's see. Let's get rid of that. What else have we got? Oh yes, I did promise. Because we were speaking, I think it was last week, we were speaking about T-shirts and merchandise.
T-shirts.
And somebody asked where they could get a DX5, a Yamaha DX5 T-shirt.
Yes.
Because I've got one of those. And the guy that made them for me doesn't make them anymore, but he has been incredibly generous and sent over to me a whole host of templates so that we could possibly make those shirts again. And he said, I'll do that if you can just give me a plug for my Etsy store where he sells synth-related T-shirts. Oh, there you go, back again. So I do like these ones in the style of Tesco Value. Value keyboard player, value bass player, tour manager, road crew. So there's SH101 shirts there. There's envelope generators, noise generators. There's filters and all this kind of. So if you're looking for a really nice synth-related shirt, again, these value designs will probably only resonate with UK. This is like a supermarket's cheap brand. So there's the joke, there's the pun. TB303s, patch cables, Space Echo mode selectors, there's mugs, a whole bunch of stuff. And this is all by the lovely Jeff Toman, who, if you don't know that name, for many years was responsible for custom designs on synthesizers and various paint jobs and resetting, doing the silk screening and all that kind of stuff. That's a pretty good cheese. Synths are like chocolates, you can't just have one. Which is very true. So consider your Etsy shop promoted. There it is. Go along. It's redbubble.com/people/custom synth. Not Etsy, Redbubble, isn't it? Go and check Jeff's work out there and buy a t-shirt or 3 from there. Right. So we've kind of run a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So the only other thing that I had lined up to talk about, because I think we should do our NAMM preview next week, Otherwise, we get sort of a little bit ahead of ourselves.
I'll tell you what.
Go on.
Has anyone bought anything sort of furniture-wise new this week?
Well,
Anyone?
I was going to say, I bought a new desk.
Wow.
And it has been quite an interesting experience. Because I think the desks, when you look at a decent studio desk, they're not particularly cheap. And I think, certainly I look at the cost of a desk and think, I could buy a Synth for that. And so that's what I do. I buy a Synth instead, rather than improve the place where I can put all this stuff. But I bit the bullet. I'd had a fairly decent bit of income from my business. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to treat myself to a desk. And so I did. And what I got was one of these. Actually, in actual fact, I've got a brief video. Look at this. I'm all about the technology here. Look at that. Where is it? There it is. Only a little one, but hey, I'm always told that that's not something to be too worried about. So I bought this, which is an oddly named Wavebone headquarter. Let me see if I can make that image bigger. There we go. And it is, I have to say, this is a lovely, well-made thing.
That's the one you've bought?
That's the one I've bought.
Bloody hell.
It's a 2-tier. So you have this main tier and then a raised platform at the top for monitors, be they visual or audio. And then in between those, you've got 3 slots of 3U rack space. So you can get 9U of rack in there across 3U bays. Or, as you'll see in one of these other pictures just there, if you don't want to put rack stuff in there, it also comes with these 3 inserts. So you can extend that main desk level all the way to the back as well. So you get even more desk space. The best thing for me, though, is this, the height adjustable 88 key controller keyboard stand.
Height adjustable.
Height adjustable and on casters.
Oh.
And I am very pleased to say that it accommodated my KX88, which is a rather large thing. Cable management kind of comes built in. It really is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I've had hours of fun trying to sort of like lay things out and get things integrated. It's interesting how a new desk actually becomes quite inspiring, because now you can access things a lot easier. I've managed to put my Essence FM front and center, rack mounted, and I can now play that anytime I want, whereas before it was just over in the corner there, and it's kind of, I'd forgotten how good it was. And I'm going to fill the other bits up with other bits of gear, so that I've got all of those to hand. But the best bit is the fact I can just reach under here and pull out this very heavy KX88 control, which you can't see because the camera's there, but trust me, it's there and it fits. I was a bit worried about that, but I think desks are underrated, and everyone should get a decent one, because it really does make a difference.
I bet you won't be able to guess what desk I've got all of this on.
No. Coffee
Kent.
table? Sorry?
No.
It's a desk. It's teak, and it was taken
antique.
from an Inland Revenue customs cutter that was operational through the 50s, went into dry dock or into storage, I think, in the 60s, and it eventually got sold sometime mid-60s, and I got it from someone else. I can't remember the name. There's a brass plaque here somewhere, but the sides come up so that you can lock them up into place so that cutlery doesn't get dropping off the table. It's a brilliant thing. I love it. It's an antique. Well, it's not antique, but it's a lovely thing. And I got something back from HM Customs, which is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Kent, you made your own desk, didn't you?
I did. Go to B&Q, get yourself a nice worktop, or 2 nice worktops.
What, kitchen worktop type things? Or?
Yeah, kitchen worktops. Cut them to the shape and size, and I mean, the height of that is exactly the same height as the 80.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So that was the start point. Work from there, and then cover it in the, the red wrap and the silver for all the uprights. Made a drawer, and then put the rollers on. Get it to the exact height I want. Bob's your auntie.
Mm. Excellent. Well, I mean, if you are skilled in that department, which clearly
you just need a jigsaw and just keep your fingers out of the way of it. That's all. There's no skills involved. That's all you got to do.
I wouldn't. I'd mess that up massively. I'm useless at that sort of thing. Absolutely useless.
Practice makes perfect, mate. Yes.
Well, yeah, I suppose. People are asking where you can get this from. I got mine in the UK from Studio Spares, which are based out in Luton, and I got that. And this is why I bought it, because it was on special offer. They got 10% off, so it's 449 quid. I had to pay a little bit more because even though it says free delivery over £99, the little asterisk next to that takes you to a disclaimer that says anything that's over 20 kilos doesn't qualify, and this is about 70 all told.
And live in Luton.
Yeah. So I got it FedExed over, but yeah, I mean the assemblies. I mean, you can see there's not a huge amount to it, and it's very simple to put together, and it's just solid as a rock.
How does the adjustable height work?
So you've just got 2 retaining bolts either side on that Z frame that sits underneath the keyboard stand, and then you just glide it up or down, and then just put the bolts back in. It's that
right.
simple.
So it's not
really.
whilst you've got a keyboard on it, then.
No, it's not. It's not motorized or anything.
Okay.
I might see if I've got mine at pretty much I think is the optimum height. I don't know if I can maybe knock it up a little bit. But no, I mean it's great, and it's on those lovely quiet. I mean, I'm on a wooden floor, but I believe Wookie, who normally resides in the chat room, I think he said that he'd got one, and he said his is on carpet, and the wheels run very smoothly on carpet. So,
did you say on carpet?
On carpet. Behave. So yeah, I haven't had a new desk for like over 10 years, and the last one I got wasn't a proper music desk. It was a corner. It was more for working from home than doing anything musically. And I'm just sort of like kind of overwhelmed at the fact that I can now put things in proper places. They're all within reach.
But it's funny, isn't it? When you get something new, or you decide, you dread for a very long time ever touching all the stuff you've got wired up, because it's such a colossal pain in the arse to do these things. And once you start, you won't stop until you've done the whole thing, kind of thing. But it's always a cathartic experience, isn't it? It always leads to another, to you reinvigorating what you do creatively, and it gives you an opportunity to explore and find a new way of working, which reflects what you're doing now.
And in fact, the reason I got it, other than the fact that I was needing one and it was on offer, was that I'd got some work that was due to be carried out in here on the radiator, because that's not been working very well. So the plumber said, I'm going to need the area around that free so I can get to maybe if I have to take the radiator off the wall. And my desk and the DX1 were right in front of that radiator. So I knew I had to move the DX1 and the Fairlight as well, because that was underneath it. So that's all shifted over. I thought, do you know what, I'll move this. Maybe I should get that new desk now. So I moved the old desk out of the way. The plumber came the next day and couldn't do the work because my boiler broke down that morning. Literally that morning, my boiler broke down, so he couldn't do the work on the radiators. And then of course this desk turns up, and I was hoping that by the time the desk turned up, he'd have been gone, and I could have just swapped them over. But in the end, I did it anyway, and I got rid of the old desk, put the new desk together. And this is actually really nice to move because it's on nice flat plastic casters at the bottom, so it just slides on this wooden floor very nicely. So it'll be fine when I want to move it again. But yeah, it just kind of prompted me to do it, and it's now prompted me to think about the layout of this room a lot more than I did before, because as everyone knows, I moved into this house kind of in a rush because I had to. And so things just kind of got thrown in where I thought they would probably end up. And none of that stuff over there is connected to MIDI or audio or anything like that. And now I'm actually thinking, well, now I've moved a few things around, maybe I can move a few other things around and make it work better for me. So I'm actually thinking about setting up a little sort of stand-up workstation where I can put a second camera and a light and do demonstrations on that and film those a lot better than I can on this. So I have a separate space to do that. And because the KX88 now is off the middle of the floor and now under the desk, that's another bunch of space that I've reclaimed. Still trying to figure out where the DX1's going to end up. Probably as a coffee table in the front room, but
Can I raise something that's just arisen in the chat that's kind of interesting? Would you mind?
Go for it.
So this has nothing to do with this, but it's new gear, and it happens to be the new gear we voted the best new gear for 2023 hardware.
Has the issue of the problematic Udo Super Gemini has been discussed? I received mine and couldn't use it. I wasn't.
Now, further down the chat, there's quite a few sort of mentions of it. I think Steve Elbows has mentioned it as well. Apparently, there were some problems with PSUs. I've not seen anything about that, but
I'd not heard.
Interesting. If someone's got one with a bad PSU, they want to give it to me because it's broken. That's fine. I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
It's because I know Carl Bedford was in the chat earlier, and he's got one. I've not heard him say anything.
Ty neither.
No, nor Ty. And Ty would.
Oh yeah, you'd hear about it very, very quickly. He'd phone me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and tell me.
God bless you.
No, I've not heard of that. But PSUs is it an external PSU or an internal PSU?
I would imagine it must be internal, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's not a problem with all of them, just certain ones. UDO found the issue and have a solution that requires a replacement part.
Here we go. Yeah. So it wouldn't hold patches. They all dissolve to noise after a few minutes.
Oh, wow.
Apparently a power supply issue. I think there were at least 7 similar cases, he was saying. But we don't know that. That's just what we're hearing from one person. But I just thought it was interesting. Sometimes there are, small issues with some components and assembly when things are put out. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's exactly the case.
Interesting. No, I hadn't heard any of that.
Patches degrading?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if power's just reducing away or something, I don't know.
Wasn't
have a battery backup, wouldn't it?
Don't know.
So unless it's mounted on the power supply, I know there'd be a diode in that circuit. Maybe the diode's acting up.
I can't
With
imagine
tri-joints.
it's an insurmountable thing, but
No,
I
I imagine it'd be a tiny, tiny little issue, but obviously you still need to open the bugger up.
still a pain. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even knowing that, I still lust and desperately want one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I am not buying any more keyboards, even though I have heard it and it sounds absolutely bloody sublime. No, I'm not buying any more keyboards.
How many weeks before he gets a Super Gemini?
I'm not buying any more keyboards.
Super Gemini.
Because I was thinking of having an auction on the pub tomorrow, and I tell you what, the list of gear is ridiculous.
I'll give you Tree Philly for the 8 voice behind you.
Do you know, I ought to do an auction.
There was a question in the chat I just wanted to answer. How do the racks fit at that angle with the wood behind? You have a choice.
Oh, you take the plate out, don't you?
You
So
take the
it's
plate out
exposed.
to put rack stuff in, but if you're not using rack stuff, you put the plate back in. So you either have that, and you can do that separately for each section. So you could maybe have 2 rack units filled and 1 not, or 1 rack unit filled and 2 not, or all 3, or all that. Yeah. So you can do combinations there and there. Yeah. So that's how that works, and they just they slide in and lock into place.
But with your OCD, you'd have to have the rack ones either side and the middle one empty, or the other way round, because it would just drive you nuts, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I had a nasal desk that had that. We had the racks in front and a drawer.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh no, that's nice, that's clever. I like you can have things on it. And then you found that you couldn't really have anything on the desk in front of these things, other than maybe a mouse and a keyboard. So if you had any other bits and pieces that you wanted to put on, you just couldn't because everything was in the way.
Yeah.
And it's only after using it in anger went, this isn't saving me a lot of space at all. You know, so that's why I built a custom one and just build it to the gear I had and what I wanted to put in.
Yeah. The one thing I thought what I'll do when I set this up is instead of just putting things where I want them, connecting and then thinking, actually no, I didn't wire anything up. I just took the bits and just put them on the desk and arranged them. And even that doesn't work properly because then you forget where the cables have got to go once you've plugged all the cables in. And so I've had to rearrange things. And this is, again, this is why I've got a slightly different camera angle now, because my monitor is on that raised shelf. And then the camera, in order for me to be looking like I'm talking to people that are looking in, is directly above and behind the monitor, as close to the edge as possible. But then I had the problem of lighting, because the main ring light I had is on a floor standing tripod. Now with the corner desk, there was a gap behind the corner bit, so I could just stick it there and it was fine. But this is now up against a flat wall, and if I wanted to have the tripod behind that, it would have meant the desk would be standing away from the wall by this much, which was just a ridiculous waste of space. So I bought another ring light, one that's smaller and hooks onto the back of my camera, and hopefully it's been working okay.
Welcome to DIY SOS.
Yeah. I'm now looking at different camera mounts, because the camera mount I bought it because it got lots of elbow joints and you could do loads of wonderful things. And what I've actually found is that because it's got all of these elbow joints, simple configurations are not the order of the day. So I'm going to look at changing that. And you might notice that I haven't got a damn great mic boom arm in front of half the screen, because I can now mount it over there.
Don't fart.
And then, and just have it here.
That's a good idea.
So,
why didn't I do that?
Yeah, it's actually made me appreciate. And I put my monitors are now at like an optimum distance apart and towed in. I've just got to do my room correction, but I'm not going to do the room correction until I've got everything in the right place.
How's that? Oh gosh, that still works.
Yeah. As long as it's pointing at your gob and it's not too far away. You know, mine's sort of like, just do. That's the general rule of thumb. Thumb to pinky.
I don't have thumbs.
So I've heard.
Won't give them house room. I'm opposed to them. Opposed to the thumb.
Opposed to, yeah. That deserves a. It was almost a. But we'll stick with that. So new desk. Even if you don't buy a new desk, I would thoroughly suggest that this time of the year, maybe as a part of your spring cleaning, revisit your work area and maybe just take everything off and start again. Because I'm guilty of just like, I'll set things up exactly how I want them.
Take everything off.
Take everything off. And then over time, I throw a thing over there, I use that, and I move things. And eventually your desk gets cluttered and you're trying to accommodate too much. And if you don't change the furniture, just pull everything off and put it all back again in a way that works for you. And don't be afraid to spend synthesizer money on a good desk or a good work area, whether it's a standalone desk or something like Kent's, it's custom, or even if you find, I was almost going to buy this lovely desk from my previous employers. I wish I had done that. It could have saved me a lot of money, but it was proper solid office furniture and they were literally giving it away. They're always good places to go for good bits of furniture, like office fire sales and that kind of things.
Yeah.
Or go and break into an HM Customs cutter. Yeah,
See how you get on
go to the wardroom. Just say, "Excuse me, officers."
But also that whole case of decluttering. I think when you put everything back together, you can maybe reintroduce things that you'd forgotten about and get all creative again with things that you already had. You don't need to go and buy another synthesizer. I'm rediscovering my Essence FM. I haven't played that for such a long time.
I beg your pardon? Don't need to go and buy another what?
Yeah.
No, use what you've got. I've seen a lot of people this year, actually. Andy Brooks was one. Carl Bedford was another. No Gear 24. Learn to use the stuff that you've got, which I think is rather good.
That's
Rather
too
good
easy.
That's a pretty good idea. I like that.
No, it's a lot of stuff I'm going to let go.
Such as?
Well, do I need 4 rollies? No. I got a Sledge SE.
I've got 4 used nuns.
They could go to a new home.
They could.
Be
Anyone
better
want,
used.
No, take it. Oh.
Loads of rack mount.
Yeah.
Hard disk recorders. Mixers. Oh, Christ almighty, the amount of mixers I got. You know, I don't need all the stuff. Stop, Kent. Stop. just.
I've got a bottle of optimism in the key of C, major.
Is it yellow?
Bottle. Well, it's a half bottle, to be fair.
Yeah, is it straw yellow?
Yeah, it's got to be straw yellow.
How did you know?
Yeah, 'cause I was thinking.
We're all men of a certain age.
What? I got an absolutely immaculate Sledge SE, black with the black and grey keys. I've used it probably about 10 minutes on that since new. So it's better off going to a better home.
Well, yeah.
And not going to ask a fortune for it, that's for sure.
I must admit, I did look at my... Now I can sort of like see certain parts of the shells. Do I really? Like my Alesis Fusion. I haven't touched that in donkey's years. I mean, it's just literally... the disregard I have for it has been on the bottom tier of that stand. Which is, you can't play that at that level unless you try and do it Moog Taurus style.
In the same way I can't play the stuff that's in the cupboard.
Yeah. So it's been on the bottom. So I think, do I really want that there anymore? I sort of toyed with the idea of loaning it to my son or giving it to my son.
So how many in the chat are looking at just revisiting the stuff they already have and learning it?
People
actually doing something new with it, or maybe downsizing. Just really interesting.
Well, I was just more creative when I had less stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always said that's the case.
Yeah.
I was more creative when all I had was a roll and sand canvas.
The days of a CR78, a Poly 6 and an MC202, and basically neither of them talk to each other. None of them talk to each other.
Yeah. Good for you, Ian.
And then I just wrote stuff, and then had to do tape mounting because I didn't have a multi-tracker, and I still wrote more bleeding stuff than I do now.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I've been playing much more often now that I've...
with this puppet, yeah.
Yeah, when you got something like that.
But not
to,
doing enough. I'm doing a lot of playing, but not doing enough writing. You know, being creative. And
did some recording last weekend for the first time in gazillions. It was good. Just try some stuff out, and it was kind of now I know what I want to do. It's a good thing.
Well, I did write a track last week because of this. You know.
Really?
Needs fleshing out somewhat because you know, everything I do has to be so bleeding grandiose and have about 9,000 violins in it. You know, but the basis of it is there, and I ran through it and everything like that, and going, yeah, I like that. It's cool. Yeah, I like that. So, but don't need everything else.
where are we? Here we go. Do that.
Yeah. Very true.
So now I can play this wonderful thing. Not very well, mine, but it's there.
Is that the easy one?
No, it's the Essence FM.
Oh, it's the Essence FM.
which I say has become rather neglected over the last couple of years, which is crazy because it cost quite a bit of money. So yeah, and because the Essence FM is rack mountable and has this nice big touch screen, it's like having a second monitor down here, and everything's now so close to hand, and I can just play away. It's been lovely to revisit that, so I should be using that a bit more. Of course it's FM. Of course it's FM.
Of course it is.
I hung out for about a year before I bought. So I hung out till the Mark II. I was very, very interested in getting it when it first came out, but just held back. And then when they brought the Mark II, yeah, get a GS2.
Wise words there. Wise words.
If only it was cheaper.
And then a skip, full of gravel, surrounded by water and nuclear waste. Yeah, that's
Lovely thing. But yeah, the ELZ one plays still now can sit on my desk, and I can still use that quite nicely as well. So that's
cool.
And that can sit here with my black box and my mixer and my stream deck, and I've got my pretty light display. That's all here, and it's all on the table. So this stuff will get used and not just sit on a shelf and get dusty.
Have you used that Launchpad much, or whatever?
Yeah,
it is?
I have. It's
Cool.
really good to use. And actually, not just for things like drums and stuff, but using it for playing melodies and stuff. It's very interesting. I like it.
Melodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Chords
think,
and
I've-
shit.
No, don't know about any of that.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway. No, so that's... Oops. Yeah, if I put it in note mode, there you go. Polyphonic aftertouch as well on this.
Mind you say poly AT now and people don't batter an eyelid.
I know.
Everything's got bleeding poly AT on it now.
They don't batter an eyelid, or they don't bat an eyelid. would
Even Theremin's are coming out with it.
Actually, I played better with my left hand on a launch pad than I do with proper hands on an actual... Anyway.
Does it feel like somebody else playing it when you use
It
your
does,
left hand?
yeah. Sit in your hand for half an hour.
Is it numb yet?
And this, I have to say, this thing is... Oh, no, the USB cable went... There you go. The
Yeah.
little 1010 Music black box is a lot of fun. Lot of fun. I mean, shame that's kind of 3U rack mount height. That would be nice if I could get that in there as well. But
Oh God, we've got someone in the chat who is a heathen barbarian.
the Eurorack user.
Look,
Nothing else.
Look.
This is poly AT. It won't be long.
No, it won't be long.
mate.
I've got a rolly block here, mate, if you're interested.
There you go.
I rolled on one of my block. Oh no,
It's got more poly 18 you can shake a prick at.
Can you throw it?
Trust me, I tried.
Anyway, I think we've
Yes,
just
dear.
about reached the end of the show.
Yes, we have managed to drag it out.
Maybe
For
next
2
week
hours.
we'll have some more interesting things to talk about, because we're getting closer to NAMM and people are starting to talk about things that they've previously been unable to talk about.
Rather than the blether.
There will be live coverage of NAMM on the pub,
Oh, there you go.
and
Lovely.
hopefully it's as much of a scream as it was last
Yeah,
year.
carpet and
No, what was it?
no.
Buffet crampon,
Buffet crampon.
and somebody
that's it.
trying to kill a fox. Yeah, with
Yeah.
some of the
Try and kill
highlights.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah, kill a fox.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
yeah.
bloke that was playing that saxophone right up against the wall. So it's a shy saxophonist.
Very
Right.
strange. Very
Yeah.
strange. Anyway,
We might
yes,
have
hopefully
some synthesizers on next week then.
we might do. Hopefully, if people decide they want to release them. I mean, Nick from Sonic State, that he's been invited to 2 events at Yamaha. I don't think we're going to see anything synthesizer-y from Yamaha. Certainly not at NAMM. Oh, I could be wrong.
Or a yellow piano.
Yellow, yeah. I mean, what I'd like to see is that ANX engine on its own in a proper nice VA environment. Like I said last week, not the Mo, because we had the Mo DX for the FM engine. So if it's the ANX engine, it'll have to be the Moan.
Dina
Yamaha
says
Moan.
she's going to have some great guests at their booth.
Oh, she always does.
Tell us who's. I'm not there, so they're not that good, really, are they?
Yes, do go and check out the NAMM website to find out who's going to be where and when. But there's always lots of good things going on. I will get there one day, even if it kills me. Just
In
to
the
say I
meantime,
won't.
perhaps Ruperto can send me his shirt and hat in that photo, because that was
Stylish dude.
good. Yeah.
Press release will be out before next week for Dina. So Manny's going to be there. Maybe the thing that Manny's been working on will be there. So yeah, should be some nice, interesting stuff. Don't forget, Andrew's saying good night. We haven't said goodbye yet, but stuff you. But don't forget, Ramsey's on tomorrow at
Yeah, we
1
goes to
PM.
bed early.
This is true.
Yeah,
he's
he's got
get-
Rams
getting
tomorrow.
on. He's
Matt
get-
Evans
get-
has fetched his coat. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, don't forget Ramsey tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Jamie will be on Sunday. He was off last Sunday. You might be doing a pub, I'm sure.
Yes, pub stroke auction
Lovely. I'll
stroke sweary rant about something.
cut out
about-
my credit cards before that, and
Yeah.
yeah, because it gets very tempting. And yeah, we'll be back same time, same place next week with the usual crew, and hopefully a little bit more news to talk about. And yeah, just have a great weekend. Put your feet up, relax, or
Watch the
not.
rugby.
Watch the rugby, watch the football, watch it, whatever. My team, last time I looked, as we're playing on a Friday night tonight, we were 1-0 up at half time, which makes a very pleasant change. But then we're only playing Hull, so that's not too difficult.
When are you playing the rest of the boat?
And
Oh,
brilliant. Gentlemen, been a pleasure as always. Thank you very much indeed. And so we will see you same time, same place next week. Until then, everyone take care, have fun, make lots of music, do a desk reorganisation, get inspired by something new. Don't spend the money. Wait until Kent's auction. You can spend the money there. But learn something you've got already that you haven't already learned. I've got loads of stuff. I could be here well into my retirement.
postal orders, food, and sexual favours will be accepted in exchange for money.
Good to know. I'll tell the missus. Okay then. Right then, guys and girls. See you all soon. Have a great weekend. Tatty bye.
Cheerio.